haven't seen one lately. I wanted to see Oppenheimer in theater, but
It's really good.
couldn't make it work. It's good.
It's really great.
I
Yeah.
love Christopher Nolan. I'm trying to think if I've seen a good movie lately. Can't think of one. Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you ask the first question again?
Yep. Much of your recent focus has been on the business community. Why is that, and what have you learned?
We focused on the business community recently, in part because I think what makes this competition so complex is that we are economically entangled with China. We've spent over 2 decades pursuing this hypothesis, which was that by integrating China into the global economy, by providing them a cession to the WTO, it would moderate their political behavior. It was a logical bet that, quite frankly, both parties made, and it happened not to work. They became more aggressive externally and more repressive internally, and so now we're having to try and figure out this very difficult issue of how do we reduce our dependency on China in key areas? How do we make sure that we're not actively fueling our own destruction by allowing the flow of American capital to China? And I think the business community, I think there remains a divide, in some ways the divide between members of Congress and Wall Street is greater than the divide between Republicans and Democrats on this issue. But we can't win the competition if we have an antagonistic relationship with the business community. We need to have an honest and forthright conversation so that we arrive at a better posture, so that we aren't fueling our own destruction, so that our supply chains are more resilient and we're diversifying those so that the CCP can't weaponize access to advanced pharmaceutical ingredients in order to bring us to our knees or reduce our response if we found ourselves in a confrontation over Taiwan. So I think that's part of the reason why we focused on the business community.
Oh yeah, I think also the business community has a lot of insights about
True.
China because they've done so much business there. They have been also the ones that have experienced the intellectual property theft, the industrial espionage, the forced technology transfer, all of the tools by which the CCP has, in some places, gained an upper hand economically. So they can also give us insight into how do we reverse that. But also, I think the business community has done surprisingly a lot to reduce its exposure with regard to CCP policies because they've reduced their footprint in China. They are moving some of that manufacturing back to America, which is a very good thing. And we have to talk honestly about how can we attract it here. What conditions do we need to create to get more of it to come to Schaumburg, Illinois, and other places? But the point is that it's the dialogue with the business community is essential for us to learn more about the competition.
It makes me think too that, like, when we say business community, we're not just talking about big Wall Street,
Right.
asset manager, right? We went to Stoughton, Wisconsin to visit a company called Stoughton Trailers, which makes trailers and chassis, to hear about the way in which Chinese companies cheating completely undermine their business. And this is just a manufacturing business in Wisconsin. And so business community also means, much more than just Wall Street.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Next question. Don't look.
Where do you see the committee work going from here?
Well, we put out 2 policy reports, which were bipartisan. We've been able, for the one on sort of military competition, we've been able to get a lot of our recommendations into the National Defense Authorization Act. We need to ensure that that passes, but we're hoping to put out a series of recommendations on the economic and technological aspect of our competition, as well as continue to do aggressive oversight and investigations. And blah, 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 blah. I trailed off there. Sorry. Do you mean to do that again, or can you just